Hinduism is a major world religion originating on the Indian subcontinent and comprising several and varied systems of philosophy, belief, spirituality, and ritual. With an estimated population of about 1.2 billion adherents worldwide, Hinduism constitutes 15% of the world population. Its adherents are today called Hindus. Around the world, Hindus are most known for the Diwali and Holi festivals. Among their concepts is karma, that has become a term almost every English speaker uses today. They have several deities with Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesha, Krishna, Sarasvati, Durga, Rama, and Kali being the prominent ones. Hinduism is the religion of about 80% of India's population. Beyond India, major Hindu populations are spread across Nepal, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the United States, Malaysia, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom. Hindus subscribe to a diversity of ideas on spirituality and traditions, but have no priestly order, no unquestionable religious authorities, no governing body, nor a single founding prophet. Hindus can choose to be polytheistic, pantheistic, monotheistic, monistic, agnostic, atheistic, or humanists. The name Hinduism is relatively new, even as the people with whom it is identified had had their traditions for over the millenniums. British writers coined the term Hinduism in the 19th century to collectively identify the followers of Indian religions. Prominent among them is Sir Monia Williams, an Oxford scholar and author of an influential Sanskrit dictionary who wrote the book Hinduism in 1877. Thus, Hinduism is best described as an exonym. An exonym, otherwise called synonym, is a non-native name for a group of people, individual person, geographical place, language, or dialect. It is used by outsiders to refer to the entities. Hinduism is an English term formed with a combination of the morphemes Hindu and ism, with ism signifying an ideology, system of thought, or practice that can be described by the word the suffix ism ends. Hindu is derived from the Indo-Aryan and Sanskrit Sindhu, which means a large body of water covering river or ocean. It was used in the name of the Indus River and its tributaries. As a side note, Indus is a Greek term for the river, while India is for the land of the river. The ancient Iranians referred to everything east of the Indus River as Ind. Some linguists suggest that the name Sindhu is in turn derived from Shinto, a Dravidian word for date palm, a tree found in Sindh. The term Hindu also implied a geographical, ethnic, or cultural identifier for people living in the Indian subcontinent around and beyond the Sindhu or Indus River. Let's take a look at historical usages of Hindu. The oldest surviving reference to the term Hindu is in the 6th century BCE inscription of Darius I, which mentions the province of Idush, referring to northwestern India, or let's say the current southeastern Pakistan. The Punjab region, called Sapta Sindhu in the Vedas, is called Apta Indo in the Zen Avesta. If the Indus Valley civilization, which spanned from around the 3rd to 2nd millennium BCE, was the earliest source of traditions that make up Hinduism, as some scholars hold, then Hinduism is the oldest continuous religion on earth. Among the earliest known records of Hindu with connotations of religion may be in the 7th century CE Chinese texts records of the Western religions by the Buddhist monk Zhuang. Zhuang uses the transliterated term into, whose connotation overflows in the religious, according to Arvind Sharma, while Zhuang suggested that the term refers to the country named after the moon. Another Buddhist scholar, Yi Xing, contradicted the conclusion, saying that Intu was not a common name for the country. The people of India are referred to as Indovan, and Indavi was used as an adjective for Indian language in the 8th century text Chachanama. After Muslims from Arabia and Persia invaded the southeastern Sindh region of modern-day Pakistan in the 8th century, we find them use the term Hindu to include people who were non-Muslims. A reference to the term was used in the Brahmanabad settlement, which Muhammad ibn Qasim made with non-Muslims in 712 CE. Muslim polymath Abu Rayhan al-Biruni, in his 11th century text Tariq al-Ind, used the term Hindu, where it includes all non-Muslims such as the Buddhists and retains the ambiguity of being a region or a religion. We also have this reflected in the texts of the Delhi Sultanate period. Equally, Abdul Malik Isami's Persian work, Futuh Salatin, composed in the Deccan under Bahmani rule in 1350, uses the word Indi to mean India in the ethno-geographical sense, and the word Hindu to mean Hindu in the sense of a follower of the Hindu religion. The poet Vidyapati's Kirtilata, written in 1380, uses the term Hindu in the sense of a religion. It contrasts the cultures of Hindus and Turks, that is Muslims, in a city, and concludes, the Hindus and the Turks live close together. Each make fun of the other's religion, that is Dharma. Something similar is reflected in the works of the 14th to 18th century Indian poets such as Kabir, Tulsidas, and Eknath, who used the phrase Hindu Dharma, that is Hinduism, and contrasted it with Turaka Dharma, that is Islam. Around the 16th century, when Muslims ruled parts of the region, the term Hindu was used to refer to residents of the subcontinent who were not Turks, Mughals, or Arabs. That means that Hindu became a term for non-Muslims in the region in that period as well. The term Hindu appears in the texts of the Mughal Empire era. Jahangir, for example, called the Sikh Guru Arjan an Hindu. Sikh scholar Pashwara Singh states, in Persian writings, Sikh was regarded as Hindu in the sense of non-Muslim Indians. However, scholars such as Robert Fraser and Mary Ammon opine that Sikhism began initially as a militant sect of Hinduism, and it got formally separated from Hinduism only in the 28th century. Perhaps we'll have to discuss the origin of the term Sikhism later. The Hindu community occurs as the amorphous other of the Muslim community in the court chronicles according to Indian historian Romila Thapa. The comparative scholar Wilfred Smith notes that the term Hindu retained its geographical reference, initially Indian, indigenous, local, and virtually native. Slowly, the Indian groups themselves started using the term, differentiating themselves and their traditional ways from those of the Muslim invaders. The earliest use of Hindu in a religious context from the Western world was in 1649 by the Christian friar Sebastião Manrique, who wrote in Spanish. Subsequent use of it in the 18th century by European merchants and colonists was meant to refer to followers of several Indian religions collectively as Hindus, as against Mohammedans, reserved for adherents of Islam. In the early colonial era, Anglo-Hindu laws and British Indian court system, the term Hindu referred to people of all Indian religions as well as two non-Indian religions, Judaism and Zoroastrianism. Along the same line are the European Orientalists' Asiatic researches, later known as the Asiatic Society, founded in the 18th century, initially identified just two religions in India, Islam and Hinduism. Muslims were called Mohammedans, while others were Hindus. By the mid-19th century, colonial Orientalist texts further distinguished Hindus from Buddhists, Sikhs, and Jains. This distinction is thus a much modern phenomenon. Within the Constitution of India, the word Hindu was used in some places to denote persons professing any of Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, or Sikhism. This has been disputed by some of these religious groups, just as the adherents continue to debate the definition of Hinduism. From all this, we see that the term Hindu existed in various historical records as an ethno-geographical term and was gradually referred to as a religion much later. Now let's talk about what Indians call themselves. Earlier, we talked of exonym, meaning the name outsiders call a people. Its opposite is endonym. Hindu adherents have various names by which they identify their faiths. Some call their faith Vedika Dharma, meaning the Dharma related to the Vedas. This is almost similar to what others call it the Vedic religion. The Vedas, meaning knowledge, are the oldest core of Hindu religious texts or utterance and organized through the centuries primarily by members of the learned Brahman class. Some Hindus believe that the Vedas date back to between at least 3000 BCE and 8000 BCE, but others believe these texts to be of divine origin and therefore timeless. Others have chosen to call the religion Sanatana Dharma, that is, eternal law, a formulation made popular in the 19th century and emphasizing the timeless elements of the tradition that are perceived to transcend local interpretations and practice. Finally, others, perhaps the majority, have simply accepted the term Hinduism or its analogues, especially Hindu Dharma, that's Hindu moral and religious law, in various Indic languages. Our primary concern in this video has been to explore the meaning and origin of the names Hindu and Hinduism, popularly used in the English speaking world to identify practitioners of various traditions associated with the Indian subcontinent today. Whether or not it is a religion depends on individual adherents and what aspects of it they hold dear. We have been able to show that the term Hindu implied a geographic, ethnic, or cultural identifier before being widely known as a religious identifier that it is today.